Well, you are definitely a Gen Xer, right? That's what you are.
Yeah, well, we both are. Joe and I are Gen Xers.
And I think I'm a millennial.
God, of course.
Are you?
Of course he is.
Wait, when were you born? I don't know. Like, here's the thing. It's like I always feel like the generational barriers, you got to kind of give a few years on either side based on like where the person grew up and, you know, kind of like what influences they had. Like Barry, you seem like very solidly Gen X to me. Or you would be like a geriatric millennial. Ooh. That's what they call like the older segment of millennials, I guess.
I'd like that. I think and tell me if I'm wrong, Barry. I think you've hung out with enough Gen X guys that geriatric millennial, right, kind of is bleeding over enough to where guys like Joe and I, obvious Gen Xers, because we're cool, you know, we draw that, we bring that out of you.
Yeah, it is birds of a feather, you know. That's why I'm confused and don't know.
No, I think it's the industry, though. Like radio, like Josh said, man, all the people who were like the mentors in your life were just like so very hard Gen Xers, man. So I think you picked up on a lot of that. So you know what, Josh, I think that, you know, there's two of us. I think we can actually officially bring Barry into the Generation X. I think that's okay. I think he has met the criteria.
Let's bring him in. Welcome to Barry.
Yeah, welcome, Barry.
I didn't ask for any of this. No, I refuse. I don't accept this. No, thank you.
Sorry, you're in. You're in.
That's it, dude. No, you can't. We're gonna get you a BMX bike. You're gonna get. We're gonna take you out on a hill. You're gonna roll down it. You're gonna scab your knee. It's gonna be okay.
We're not gonna be great. And then
it is what it is.
And then you can just sit back and watch the world burn with the rest of us, man.
That's right. Under that one light at the end of the block that your family will never know where you're at. Dad, congratulations. Welcome to the fold, my friend. That's how it is. You're there.
Way to join us.
There you guys go.
One of us.
That's fine.
One of us.
Because I think we're all going to agree on this next story about there was a Gallup poll. Have you heard of these things? The Gallup poll?
Yeah.
Where they do like national surveys and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
They did one on the death of Gen Z and how real it is. Oh. You know how everybody's saying that Gen Z doesn't go into the office. They don't like to work. They're, you know, all of these misconceptions and misnomers about
who's everyone.
Yeah.
Well, just who's everyone? I would say like baby boomers, their perspective on Gen Z is probably mostly inaccurate. You know what I mean? They probably think that they do things that they don't do. You know, it's like that's how things start in Scuttlebutt. You know, it's like all the generations talk about each other. But
it sounds like a bunch of talking heads to me. Wait.
It is. It's all that.
In fact, I'm sure there is a YouTube video about to be played.
There had to have been a TikTok or something about it. Something like that.
Yeah. Let's hear it. What do we got, Barry?
Well, this NYU professor, she says that the death of Gen Z has been greatly over-exaggerated.
Okay.
And let's hear her yap for a minute here. Okay, hold on here.
Death of Gen Z has been greatly exaggerated, right? Because our generation, and the statistics, the Gallup poll really shows this. Our generation is sort of that they're dead to us. They're over. They're entitled. They're lazy. They don't know how to work. But Gen Z is filled with hope and optimism for themselves. These numbers are very high because there's this 76% that says I'm very optimistic about the future. 85% believe they'll achieve the goals that they set out for themselves. And meanwhile, the general population, which is us, people who are not Gen Z, say, forget it, they're never going to achieve anything.
Okay, but who's right?
Well, we shall find out. I actually believe in Gen Z. I think that they want to know how to to achieve. They want to learn more. I think they want a different future than we wanted, and that might be the source of some of the frustration. When the poll asked them, "What is your dream? What's your American dream?" They said something that's kind of, I think, a little bit startling to our generation. They said, "We want to make enough money to live comfortably." Now, that on its face sounds like an okay goal. I want to make enough money to live comfortably, but when their word "comfortably" is not about financial security, it's about anxiety. If you look deeper into the results, right? They'll do anything to avoid anxiety. They want to have lives that are anxiety free. And that's why we saw quiet quitting, lazy girl jobs, fun employment, all of those trends.
And you think if this poll was taken of a generation or two back or three back, the answer would have been not just I want to be comfortable, but I want to do better than my parents?
Yes, absolutely.
Because that to me was what I thought was the American dream.
That's right. They have a very tamped down, diminished American dream. And who's to say it's wrong? Maybe that but what we see, what the implications for business are, is that they are moving away from work and business being the source of their happiness and self-actualization and identity.
I can't say I'm shocked or surprised. I mean, they grew up with the Great Recession, followed by COVID and the pandemic and crazy lockdowns.
Yes.
And
their view of the future can be quite nihilistic.
Right. If you look at some of those things, if you grew up and watched your parents get in trouble during the Great Recession, you think, I'm not going to put myself through the things my parents did and sacrifice all those things for what? For nothing.
For the man. They don't want to do it.
Am I wrong to have more hope for Gen Z than maybe some of the other named generations? I think
no, I don't. I have a lot of hope for them because they have one really beautiful thing.
But they're different, aren't they? They're different, than the hoverboard generation, whatever the hell they living in their parents' basement.
They are at least in my classroom, my experience, and I talk to a lot of people from Gen Z. They want to work very, very. They want to have meaningful lives. Okay, so that's
not just apps on their iPhone.
No, they want that. They actually like more in real life communication than previous generations. I have a lot of hope for them. Actually, I know that's
okay. So, but let me ask you this: We've been talking about the UAW this morning with the auto union. And we've now seen a sort of union movement with UPS across the country. It's happening broadly. Yeah. How does that play into this?
I think that Gen Z would be more likely to want to be unionized than previous generations. Because they don't trust institutions. I mean, and their trust institutions all-time low. Because they don't trust, they're not going to trust their boss to say.
The union's not an institution?
Well, they don't know that yet, right? They see
They're some of the worst. The management at the union.
Okay, they are going to pick management as being the institution, the man, the boss. And I think they'd be more likely to unionize because they don't see work. They don't see, okay, if I unionize, it's going to hurt my upward trajectory. It's going to take me out of management because they don't have long-term views about how long they're going to stay at a company.
Yeah, but who has, though? It doesn't matter the Gen Z. Who has ever trusted the man? I mean, you can even go back to baby boomers that said that, right? But I think it's a matter of work ethic. And I don't know. This seemed like a pretty lame story. I mean, I don't know. Joe,
I literally knocked my hat off. My eyes rolled so hard listening to that story. I don't know if this woman, who is certainly been in the upper middle class to upper class probably most of her life, has ever actually gotten down in the trenches and talked to Gen Xers who've been working since they were 15, like me. I don't know. I have always just wanted to be comfortable. I have no anxiety. I never was like, man, I got to do better than my parents. I was just like, I just want to be comfortable and live a good life, be able to travel. And you make those types of decisions. I watched my dad not travel and not go to all these places that he talked about incessantly for years, trying to raise our family, and he, never going anywhere. And it's why I made it a priority. Travel's important to me, and I got to do it now because there might not be a later. And I think a lot of us have been in that position for so long. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between what Gen Z, as a total is asking for and what most people just want. A decent paying job, not to worry about, your health benefits all the time, have all that kind of stress and anxiety, you know, and just be able to like hang out every now and then with your friends and family. That's all people want. We're not trying to be lazy. We're just trying to like get by. It's hard.
Yeah, look, I saw my father when he found out that he knocked up my mom at 19 and needed a job. He got a job at Frito-Lay packing chips. And he spent the next 50 years, the longest running Hispanic in PepsiCo history, by the way, just doing what he had to do to support his family. And he spent hours and hours and countless days and weeks of not having this thing called vacation, then finally being able to get to a point where he could have a vacation. And then there was this thing from Gen Xers called timeshares. And my father thought, you know what? A timeshare would be great. I can take my kids there. Then, you know, my little brother came into play, who is the, a lot like Barry now, you know, the Gen Zer. But my point is, much to your point, Joe, I saw my father bust his ass for so long and working so many hours. At the end of the day, it wasn't a matter of just trying to be better than my dad. When I got into radio, I'll never forget when I said, hey, Pop, you spent all this money sending me to private Christian school and trying to get this good education. And then out of nowhere, I said, hey, Pop, I'm going to be a radio personality. And he looked at me and he said, only one thing. Are you going to be able to pay your bills?
Mm-hmm.
I said, yeah. He said, are you going to be happy? I said, Pop, I think I am. He gave me a hug. We took a picture in the studio with my first job, and that's all he ever gave a damn about. And guess what? Guys like Gen Xers, everybody else, that's all I ever cared about. I just wanted to be happy. I paid my bills. I could travel whenever the hell I wanted to. And you know what? For these other generations, don't think about trying to outdo everybody. Make this huge TikTok, you know, 6-figure salary. Just be happy. You'll learn to be happy. Learn to be happy with yourself. Learn to be happy with your loved ones. Learn to be happy with the people that actually care about you. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Well, but I think that's one of the points that she's making, and that people are maybe confused about or disappointed in because other generations had a different view of it. Trying to do something that makes you happy is sometimes looked at as not good enough. You know, like,
yes,
you can't have a job that makes you happy. You got to get a job that pays you really well, you know, that makes you a big star in some way. You know, it's like, no,
it doesn't.
No, it's not. That's not. And it takes people way, way too long to figure that out in life, you know.
But I always thought that if they had someone like, you know, where they had individuals from the Gen X or whatever to just be able to sit down with them, because think about it, they spend so much of their time thinking that they have to accomplish so much and have to achieve a financial level that's way beyond, even beyond their parents, that I don't think they truly understand how much they're giving up. Right? Yeah. Like, I don't think anyone ever sat down with them and said, well, yeah, you're going to work. You know, you think you're going to work 40 hours, pff, whatever. You're going to work 60, 70, 80 hours, busting your ass and never have time off, right? Like, that's how, if you want to get that and achieve that, it's not going to happen with you just going, well, I posted a really cool picture on Instagram or TikTok and it took off. That's less than 1% of anybody that does social media marketing.
Less than 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%. It's a minuscule amount. Like, you have a better chance of getting into a professional sport than you do of breaking through on YouTube or Instagram or anything as an influencer. It's mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
So many people.
Yep.
So Gen Z, do it to be happy. It's okay. That is okay.
Dude, be
Just
happy.
Be happy.
Be happy. Be happy.
Don't worry. Be happy.
Finally, you two agree on something.
I do.
Sometimes.
You two generation will agree on happiness. I like it.
We can agree that NYU professor was like, wow, just out of touch.
Way out of touch. There's just so many of these elitist snobs that just don't get it, and it is what it is. That's why they're not in sports. That's why they don't get the